Take that. I'ma put in work. I'ma do that ASAP. Throw my favorite rap. What I say, don't say that, huh? What I'ma turn down for? Feel like Shaq and 9-4. Breaking glass in that backbone. I like Kobe and Toronto, huh? Dropping 81. Yo, I dropped an 88. Ricky Bobby, shaking bake. Sleeping on it, should've stayed awake, huh? Everybody make mistakes like BJ's. Try to say my name is Minio. Say it with me, Minio. Okay, great. 2 walks high. Face stakes. Risk it all. I take the hate. It's the winning.
Yeah, so tonight we're not going to do any live sourcing. I'm going to do that on Thursday. I'm going to take like 30 minutes just to answer some questions because we have a lot of new members in here, a lot of people asking a lot of questions, trying to get started. So tonight we're really just going to focus on answering the questions that are holding you back, those initial barriers you guys are hitting, and kind of help you better understand the system a bit more, what to do in those situations that you're hitting, and figure out if you're doing something, that's not really helping you move forward, basically, and get you back on track. So if you have any questions, please throw them in the comments. So any questions at all, please throw them in the comments. We'll get you guys set up. Make sure you're moving forward, all that good stuff.
Even so, just the same, make it rain down low. Oh, make it rain.
Any questions you guys have, please throw it into the comments.
The seas are full of water. Up spot to the shore. clouds fill with thunderous flow. Let lightning be the rain. Fill the sky.
If you guys don't have questions but just want to get some ideas on a few things or share something, please do. Would love to hear some positives, some things you guys have gotten, new accounts, you know, hitting new milestones with the business, all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, there they go. They just came through. Cool. Tyler, start from scratch. Where should I begin? All right, Tyler. In the video section within the Facebook group, there's a video. Actually, let me grab the link for you so I can take you right to it and direct you to it. It's going to show you exactly how to source the way that we do, okay? So it's exactly what I do when I do the live sourcing. Nothing's different. This is just more how-to oriented, you know, less me just kind of going at it. So let me make sure I got this right. See where this guy's at. That's live sourcing. Okay. All right. All right, so Tyler, here is the not live sourcing, but me actually teaching how to do it from start to finish. Everything I use, you don't need Jungle Scout tools. You don't need anything paid. Like, this will get you up and running. And I use this exact system consistently every single day to get to 6 figures. James is using it to get to 7, and now he's getting closer to 8, okay? So don't overthink it. You don't need anything more. Just do this consistently, okay? Don't overthink it. A lot of people do that. Brielle, what are the benefits of doing wholesale over private label, RA, or OA? All right, I'm going to break it down. And with the caveat that each one is good in its own right? So it's not one is better than the other. I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I have some opinions on it, but it depends on everybody's situation. And each one has different barriers that keep you from growing. Wholesale being a little bit less so, which is why we like it. So most people start with retail arbitrage or online arbitrage. The issue with that is replenishables, right? So let's say you're 6 months into it, you're doing well, and then you want to take a month off. What happens, right? Nobody sources. The cool thing with wholesale, if I have the account and it's profitable this month, it is also profitable for the most part next month and the month after that. When I look for products, I want to carry them for well over a year. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for consistency and stability with that product as far as pricing and sales rank. So RAOA, very difficult to scale, right? Because RA more so difficult because you have to physically go find it. And for all you know, you can go spend 8+ hours in a store and really not find anything worth your time and effort. And when you buy inventory, you're buying what, like max 10 items? Like, yes, I know you're going to have unicorns in certain situations where you're able to get like 30 units. I want to move minimally 30 units every single month of a product that I bring on. OA, you can definitely scale it a little bit easier because you don't have the physicality of going and buying and prepping as much. You can start to utilize a prep center with OA, but same issue, right? Like if I want to move 1,000 units a month, I can't really do that with OA. You're going to get flagged. Like they're going to see you're ordering 1,000 units of a specific product a month and red flag you. And for the most part, those products don't stay profitable. They're only profitable because they're discounted or something, right? So for consistency, I don't like RA, I don't like OA. For consistency and scalability. Private label, there's nothing wrong with private label. But let's face it, you need quite a bit of money to successfully do it. Yes, I know people do it for, you know, $1,000 or $2,000, and there are stories of people starting with $500. But what you don't realize is those people, for the most part, had a lot of that skill set beforehand, failed a lot with it beforehand, and eventually they didn't just start with 500 and put nothing back into it. And talk to anybody who's really scaled private label. You go and you have to get outside money, right? So it costs a lot of money, and it's a very long-term process in time frame, right? So because you have to build out the listing, you have to get a ranking, get sales, run PPC, all that good stuff, which nothing wrong with that, but that's a completely different skill set. Now, if you've got that skill set, I think that's a great way to go. So private label, you need a lot more money, you need a lot more time, and it could not work, right? Like you might have to go through 5 private label products to really make it work. And let's be honest here, I'm going to call out a few people, not specifically, obviously, but like there's a difference between private label and white label. What most people do and consider private label is white label. They take a product, they do nothing to it, and then they put it on Amazon under their own name. That is not private label. That is white labeling. Completely different business model, but people use it interchangeably. Now, if you're taking a product and you are improving upon it physically and making it better, yes, that is private label, and you have a much higher chance for success. White labeling, no. So, you know, where wholesale works for me and where I see a lot of the benefits is when I place an order for a product, I have enough sales data already on the current listing I'm jumping on to know that as soon as it hits Amazon or Amazon's warehouse, I'm going to get sales. Okay. So the risk of the product not doing well is quite low. I mean, very low. Obviously you're going to take some hits because you're growing and you're learning, but the way we teach it, we give you a lot of the things to look out for. We teach you those things, how to mitigate risk, which is very important and something you'll hear me say all the time. But you can be up and running. That's the thing. Like, all right, let's say you have $5,000 to start, right? Private label, you can certainly do that, but it still might take you 6 months, right, to really get up and running and profitable. Well, with wholesale, you could be profitable like 2 weeks in. I mean, really, if you're quick to get the accounts, put in that work, put in the effort, and you're placing orders, and you're doing it the way we're teaching, you're up and running, like you're ready to go. Then what's crazy though is the scalability, even with private label versus wholesales, is completely different. So like, yeah, you see products that, you know, they're moving 4,000 or 5,000 units a month of one product. That's fantastic. But what you don't realize is that's like 2 years in the making. Whereas with wholesale, the better and more effective and efficient you become at getting these accounts, which it does get easy once it clicks for you. It's just how much money can I get my hands on to spend? Like that's it, right? So, for the most part, it's relatively easy. I'm actually working on a blog post right now to teach you guys how to do that. It's easy to take somebody and have them go from being barely able to spend $2,000 a month and have them spending $50,000 a month on inventory. It's really not that difficult. It's just the scalability of it. And actually, it's really not that much more work. That's the crazy thing. You know, so in terms of getting up to 6 figures and getting running, and I'm talking like revenue right now, wholesale is the best way to go. It's so easy to scale, and you don't run out of products. That's the cool thing. Once you get good at this, you guys don't realize like how many new like products are added every single day. That's new inventory for us, new opportunity for us. Amazon's starting to get kicked off of listings because suppliers don't want to work with them. They'd rather work with us. It's a good thing. So that's my take. Obviously, and I've said this before, each business model within Amazon, because they're all different business models. They're not just how you make money. They're different business models, can make great money. There's people who do scale RA. There's people who do scale OA. There's people who exclusively do private label, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love it. But at the end of the day, you need to pick the one that you like the most and forget everything else and have extreme focus on that one business model and dive deep and commit like a year to 2 years to it, minimally. I mean, really, if you have a longer term perspective, you know, when you have an off month or whatever, it's not a big deal. You know, what's 1 month out of 5 years? So that'll kind of help you guys a lot more. Brandon, kind of how Q4 ended up. I'll tell you how the year ended up. So the year before, so my first year, I only did it probably 6 months, and I started with RAOA. I did like 40 grand in sales, made like $2,000 in profit. Like it was terrible. January this year, or technically last year now, so it's been exactly a year now. I started 100% wholesale. Refused to order inventory unless it was wholesale. Kind of didn't know what I was doing the first 3 to 4 months, and then got up and running with the system that we're kind of teaching you guys now. And I've closed out the year at 200,000 in sales. The goal was $250,000. Lost it by 50. That's okay. But considering going from, 40 grand in sales and like 2 grand in profit, which was not worth it at all, to almost $250,000 in sales. Granted, like I said, like the first 3 to 4 months, I didn't get any accounts because I had no idea what I was doing. And the few accounts I did get were like terrible, like barely profitable. Like I just wanted inventory, even if it made like $1. Now I have very strict buying criteria. So that'll help you guys a lot. Just taking the information that we're giving you guys, the systems, all the blog posts. If you guys honestly like read through the blog posts, I cannot say it enough. Like I'm giving you everything I run my business with, including James too. We do the exact same thing. He's just like 2 years ahead of me right now. Like there's no different. Like read well, 2 of them you need to really focus on right now, right? Especially if you're getting started. One is how to analyze and source products, right? I have the blog post and the video in there. Obsess over that. Take notes on it. Take action on it. Number 2 is going to be how to mitigate risk and how to basically place those test orders. So now not only are you able to take that massive opportunity and run with it and grow with it, you're also mitigating the potential risk, which does happen. And a lot of people get bit on it. So I basically give you the buying criteria I use. The only difference with James is he starts at 25% gross. I start at 30% gross, but I adjust it, and we're talking 5%, right? So like I adjust it based off like how much the dollar amount is. So like one product makes $58 in profit per unit. So that one's 20%. Obviously I'm going to take 20%, for $58 per unit. I'm going to do that, but if it's like $3 per unit, probably not as much. But that's totally up to you guys. Obviously you have to have your own buying criteria, but the way at least we have, what to focus on, work within those constraints, but then tweak the numbers in the percentages to fit your business model. Tyler, I recently got ungated in a company brand that wanted me to launch their product on Amazon. Dude, nice. That's the one I think you were talking to me about that you were having issues with. Very glad if that's the one, because that sounded like a pain in the butt, but you stuck with it and you made it work. That's awesome, man. Very good. Very good. Thanks a million. You're welcome, bud. See, thank you. I appreciate the comprehensive and helpful explanations. I've done a little RAOA and have a private label product that I manufactured myself that is doing okay. Did the PPC, optimizing listing, product photos, etc. But wanted to put some, let me expand this here, put some feelers out for wholesale. Sounds up my alley. I think so. I mean, really, the last comment you made sums up my situation, dabbling in it all. Yeah. Listen, a lot of people go through this, right? It's you see the potential with every business model and you want to do them all. You can't. You effectively can't. Let me say that you effectively cannot do it. Especially if you really, really, really want to grow. It's just not going to happen, right? It sucks, but it's not a bad thing. Once you understand that and you know that, you move forward. I like that you're manufacturing your own private label product. That's fantastic. Wholesale is always a fantastic complement or supplementation, basically, to a private label. But again, I would focus on one out of all of them, just because it makes the most sense. Yeah, I mean, as far as like RAOA, listen, if you've never created a shipment, like sometimes that's kind of scary to people because they're like, I don't want to mess up. Which this is part of the reason why we say buy a test order of like 12 units for any product, because if it goes wrong, you lost $200 versus like $8,000. Big deal, right? Like, especially when your orders are like $10,000 per order, like that's a big deal. So if you've never done it before, there's absolutely nothing wrong. And I'm not saying do this business model, but go to Target, go somewhere local, scan some products, find something that is profitable, buy them, go through the process of creating a shipment, the labeling, all that stuff. So you understand the logic behind the steps and how it works. And then you can say, okay, I've done this before. I know what I'm doing now. Now let's switch on wholesale, or honestly be getting accounts the entire time. But that you could do this after, or not this afternoon, it's kind of late, but do it this weekend, do it this week, whatever. Go somewhere local, get like 10 units of something, box it up to Amazon standards, input everything, create the shipment, add the listings, all that good stuff, and get up and running, and then start placing some orders. I think that helps a lot of people who are kind of confused as to the Amazon shipping side of things. It's really not confusing. A lot of the options they give you, you don't touch. I don't know why they give you so much, but you don't hardly use anything. But yeah, Brielle, obviously I don't know the situation with the private label product. It might be doing great, but if at any point you're like, it's just not really doing it for me, there's nothing wrong with selling through, not placing a restock order, and switching things up. That is your decision, though, obviously. Brandon, my man, right behind you, I hit 190 in OA, but trying to switch to wholesale this year, working my static site as we speak, and we'll be signing up for VinDrive momentarily. Love it. Dude, that's cool. I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, you can scale. OA is a little bit easier to scale than RA is. And Brandon, I'd love to talk to you about, the numbers behind that, because it's something that's always interesting and makes me curious with these other business models, because I've tried a few, but I've had the hardest time scaling them, which is why I like wholesale, because like I can scale it so fast. But it is kind of interesting that we have a lot of people come from OA, RA, and private label, and they're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something else. So there's some kind of commonality where people get into these things and they're like, yeah, it's not really what I thought it was. But it's all good. And that's why I try not to say like, this is passive and like, oh, just work an hour a day. Like, no, like this, start a real business. Like, if you're going to do this, do it right. Like, obviously I know a lot of people have full-time jobs and stuff, and like I go to school full-time. Like, listen, you work with the constraints you have, but at the same time you still need to approach it and treat it like a real business, because at the end of the day, if you're just trying to do a little something here and there, are you really going to get anywhere? Like don't worry about making an extra $500 a month. Try to make an extra $5,000 a month, and you'll be a lot better off, in my opinion. And you'll build the system within your business vastly different than if you're just trying to make $500. The perspective is completely different. The mind shift is what's very important. Chandler, I heard about you, dude. St. Augustine, nice. Not that far away. I'm sure you're digging this nice, rainy, cold weather we got today. Let's see. Bilal, do you have any experience with wholesalers in the UK? No, honestly, I've never really talked to anybody outside the US who does wholesale. But the cool thing is, we can sell in Germany, we can sell now in China, which is not as big of a market for some reason. There's still, luckily, like these newer markets that Amazon's opening that's allowing us in the US to sell in them, their version of Amazon is where our version of Amazon was like 5 years ago. So that's huge growth opportunity, right? Like, we can sell in Canada. Like Mark sells in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's in Canada, but I assume he focuses Canada. I'm sure he does some US too, because why not? We can do Mexico, which not a big one. Germany is a big one from what I understand. There's a few sellers that 90% of their revenue comes from like overseas Amazon. So a lot of people don't focus on it, and it's a big opportunity. Now, the cool thing about wholesale, I'm going to tell you guys a story. So I do like the whole travel hacking thing. So I took my ex to Paris for a week, right? So it didn't pay for anything. I mean, the only cost was the plane taxes, which was like $250. So we got an apartment across the street from the Louvre, like all this good stuff. Went there for a week. And I took this little $200 Chromebook because I had the business, right? So what I did was, because I didn't feel like placing any orders, I placed my orders ahead of time. And then all I had to do was hook up to the Wi-Fi in the apartment, send like 2 emails, and I processed 1,000 units of inventory and still got sales the entire time. So I worked 30 minutes that week, and my business didn't stop. It kept going. And I'm the only one in it. No VAs right now, even at that point. It's pretty nice. So from a lifestyle perspective, it is pretty good. Again, I'm not saying it's passive and you're always going to work 30 minutes. Like that's like 1 week out of a year. But it's certainly nice. Like I said, you theoretically could take a month off. Obviously, you're probably still going to take or place orders and make sure you don't run out of inventory. But, if there's a month that life just gets crazy and you just need to maintain your sales, place restock orders. That takes all of 5 minutes right now to really do. Luckily, the maintenance time requirement of an account once you get the account is super low. Like we're talking 5% of your time. Just because a lot of the work is upfront work to get those accounts, make sure they're profitable, place the initial orders, and then once you're playing restock orders, it's easy. Like all the data as far as like how many to restock, all that good stuff, completely automated, and you're good to go. So that part is pretty nice. So how long? Let's see, Brielle, how long did it take you to get your first account? Once I understood what I was doing, like a week. The first 3 to 4 months, I had no idea what I was doing or what I was looking for. And I think I got like 2, but those lasted all of 2 days because they just weren't good products. And I had no idea how to analyze a product. Now that I understand how to do that, it's easy. And see, that's the thing I said a few weeks ago in the Google Hangout is you could hand me 50 grand right now and I could spend it within the next 30 days. I can find that amount of accounts. It's not difficult. It's simple. It's not easy because it takes the work, and you have to trust in the system that we're teaching you guys because we're doing the exact same thing. Like it's not like here's how to get started, but we do it differently. No, literally the exact same thing. That's why I've been starting to do these live sourcing things, just so you guys can actually see like there's no difference. Literally no difference. You sit down every single day. You set a goal for yourself of how many how many suppliers you want to reach out to. And I say at least start with 10. And you just do that. And the more you do it, because it's a skill set, right? The more you do it, the better you get at doing that. So you become super effective. Like I just posted a comment within a discussion, like right before I started this, where one of the new members is just having issues finding accounts. And she's like, I'm using Jungle Scout, I'm using this, I'm using that. I'm like, that's the issue though. The issue is you're trying to use these tools to solve the problem that you don't really know how to get accounts. That's it, right? So it's like taking a productivity tool and using it on something that's not effective. How does that make sense, right? So you want to be super efficient at something that doesn't work. That's the issue. A lot of people get stuck with that. You don't need tools. I didn't use Jungle Scout until 2 months ago, and I was already at 6 figures. Like the majority of my accounts come from doing it manually because it's so effective. You don't need those. It's nice, right? Like when I only have 30 minutes to do it, yeah, I'm gonna use Jungle Scout because it's an efficiency tool, but I still know what I'm doing and I'm effective with it. I can get rid of that and never use it. Doesn't matter. Half the time I don't use it because it doesn't matter. Focus on being effective and putting in the work and understanding there's a learning curve. Okay. You're not just going to jump into the Facebook group, read the blog post, and then have 20 accounts in 2 weeks. Some of you maybe, but like look at Mark, look at Julian, who you guys see within the group. These guys spent the last 30 days with me doing the work. And even when we're getting on these Google Hangouts, Mark's like, hang on, I have to fax over an application. That's it, right? It's not sexy. This isn't some like how Dylan started with $500 and now he's doing $250,000 in sales and he never works a day in his life and he travels all the time. No, it's not sexy. It's a business. It's work. I don't know what to tell you. So hopefully that helps, though. A little rant, I know, but it's all good. Let's see. So Brandon just said, with OA, the numbers he's seeing profit wise is the margin, should I say, is 13 to 14% margin. Then after returns, 11%. So that's something to keep in mind too. The amount of spend he's probably doing would be way more effective with wholesale products because the margins are much higher. Not crazy higher, but high enough compared to that it makes it makes it a better return on the money you're spending, basically. Bilal, do you source products which Amazon is already selling and has the buy box as well? If so, then what is your strategy to beat AMZ? I don't. So a lot of people view this differently, right? So you're either, I never want to compete with Amazon, which is my side of the world, and then it's not a big deal, I'll figure it out. Certainly there's situations where it does make sense for me to jump on a listing because, let's say, even though Amazon's the lowest price, Amazon doesn't have the buy box, and there's enough competition, sellers like me, who aren't going to go that low because of map or something like that, and it just so happens to work out to where we get the buy box. It's a different situation. Either way, I'm still testing, right? Like I had that happen with a product I can move 1,000 units of a month. It kind of freaked me out because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I've never seen this. I ordered 12 units, tested it. It worked. I sold through in a day. I'm like, fantastic. Let's order 50, and scaled it up. And if anything changes, I don't restock, right? So, but me personally, I'm not going to compete with Amazon just because there's just too much opportunity out there to not have to deal with that. And simple fact is they can lose thousands of dollars a day. You can't. And when you understand and view it from that perspective, why would you want to go up against an opponent who can benefit from losing? And we can't. I'm good with that. Let's see. How do you suggest map pricing to a company? So in the sense that they don't have it, but you would like them to have it, you can just casually bring it up. Just be like, listen, I would love, or you might want to kind of ask, make it a bit open-ended to them, or lead them, should I say. Have you had issues with pricing kind of being all over the place with Amazon with your products? And they'd be like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Be like, well, 90% of the inventory I carry actually has map pricing enforced by the supplier. And obviously I, as a seller, because I'm their day to day, basically within that data, help police that. So if anybody goes below map, I immediately let you know what seller name is doing it, a link to it, all that good stuff, so you can take action on it. Some suppliers, quite frankly, don't care, and they're like, yeah, that would be nice, but we don't want to deal with it. Or they think that they don't have the control to be like, well, I can email them all they want and they don't have to. Technically, they don't, right? It's an agreement. It's not a legally binding contract. But we like to assume everybody's going to play within that agreement. And for the most part, they do. And if they don't, they just don't get to restock, right? The supplier just says, well, you went against the agreement. You can't buy inventory from us anymore. Okay. So you can do it casually, just like that. Super simple. They're either going to say, yeah, I'd be interested in kind of playing with that idea. But then again, at the same point, because I'm looking at a product from the historical pricing of a product over the course of a year, I know where that price is going to be at. So if I see the price is super volatile, I'm just not going to jump on because that's too much maintenance from me, right? If I'm trying to carry 100 plus SKUs, I don't have time to check on this one product every single day and make adjustments. And quite frankly, I don't like using repricers. I just don't want to do it. So I'm going to look for a product that is a straight line for the most part, right? It might have a few jumps and that's okay. But again, I'm looking for stable products. Big difference in just, is it profitable? No, that's how you lose money. It's got to be stable, because if it sold for $30, consistently the past 11 months, guess what it's going to sell for the next probably 6 months? $30, right? Like, I don't have to worry about that. That means I can have this portfolio of SKUs and inventory that I don't have to touch every single day, right? Like, I didn't work the other day, and I was actually on a date, and I looked down on my phone because we were just talking about what each other did, and I was kind of talking about Amazon and stuff, and I was like, oh, I did $3,000 in sales a day. Didn't look at anything until that point. Didn't work at all. This was a weekend. It was like a Saturday. Like, that's pretty cool, right? At least I think it is. What website builder would you recommend for the static website? Guess what's crazy? I don't have a website. I don't use one. Like, listen, that's not to say that you shouldn't, because there are benefits, but there's a certain way you need to do it. At VinDrive, we're working on solving that issue and making it automated for you so you don't have to do it. You don't need a built-out website, okay? Once you guys are in VinDrive and you're up and running, then you need to worry about that. For right now, do not play business by building a website, okay? Don't. You don't need it. It's not going to, like, change the world for you with getting accounts, okay? Like, dead serious. Didn't have one until, again, 2 months ago. I changed a few things within the last 2 months. Had no effect. Still got to 6 figures. None of them. Okay? Doesn't matter. It does not matter. I know you're going to be like, oh, well, it makes it harder and they ask for it. Guess what? Leave it blank in the application. I've done this. Put your Amazon link to it. Your seller link. Like, yeah, I sell on Amazon. If they hate Amazon, I'll push back a little bit just to see if I can resell them on selling to me. And if they're like, we don't want to do it, fantastic. I have a pipeline full. I go to the next supplier. See how that works? That's why you want your pipeline to be consistently full. So when those things creep up, it does not matter. What do you say when they ask for one? Just what I just said. In a way you can frame it is if they kind of push back on you, say, listen, we're an e-commerce business and we focus the majority of our sales channel on Amazon's platform. The reason for that, because some people are like, well, why? Why wouldn't you want your own website? I tell them, well, listen, I could have a lot of costs each month for technical reasons of the website. I could spend and dump a ton of time into dealing with that, to growing it, running pay-per-click, all these costs. Or I could take all of that capital each month and put it back into inventory. Nobody can argue with that, especially if you're trying to spend that capital instead of on, random, like, technical expenses, but with them. They understand that, right? But again, you're not going to win them all. Some of them are just like, I don't care. I hate Amazon. I hate you. Great. Bye. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not going to affect you, I promise. But again, for the small occasions where it does make sense, we're working on a feature with Amazon or with VinDrive that lets you spin something up so you can show them, take 0 of your time, and you're off to the races. Because sometimes, yes, it does help. But from a grand scheme of things, getting started, no. Promise you. You guys getting started, if you're not at 10K a month in revenue, it doesn't matter. And I'm talking with wholesale, because I know a few you are with OA, but a little different. If you're not at 6 figures with wholesale, don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. Worry about getting 10 to 20 suppliers that are profitable. Okay? That's your only goal right now. Just 10 profitable suppliers that meet the buying criteria you have set specifically without expectation or without exception. You do that, you're at 10 grand a month. Okay? I know it's kind of hard thinking that these things are going to be barriers, and some things are more important than others, but a lot of you guys getting started, the things you're focused on are not multipliers. They're not going to move your business forward. The only thing you need to be focused on right now is sourcing suppliers. That's it. Don't build a website. Don't do any of that. That's playing business, right? We need to do the unsexy, uncool part of sourcing suppliers day in and day out. If you are not doing that, it is irrelevant. It's like somebody in sales, like, I'm going to build a website. That's great. In the long run, how does that help us this month? No, get on the phone and start making phone calls. What we do is sales, period. We call suppliers and we sell them on letting us give them our money in exchange for inventory that is profitable. That is what we do day in, day out. That is the unsexy part of our business and our industry. But guess what? Once you accept that and you take action on it every single day, you move forward. That's it. And the only difference between doing 6, 7, 8, 9 figures is how much you spend every single month. Nothing changes how you source. How much do you have to spend every single month on inventory? Got a few more minutes if you guys have some more questions. You guys want to share anything? And actually, I'm going to do it because one of you guys mentioned you were looking at VinDrive. So let me got this set up for you guys. Right here. So for those who are interested, this is going to be open for the next 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes. So I'm giving you a deadline here. All right, so here it goes. If you want it, if you want VinDrive, but not at the full price, when you go to VinDrive, you put in the coupon or discount code FB Live 2018. I just threw it into the comments here. All right, so you have 2 minutes. So it's live till 7:45. All right. See, Bilal, if you find a product with good ROI and not selling on Amazon, then how can you judge it, or if it will sell on Amazon? You judge volume, specifically sales volume, obviously, by the selling rank, the average selling rank. Just because you can have a very profitable item that sells 1 unit of a month. That happens all the time. I don't care. I can't place an order for 1 unit. I can place an order for 12 units, minimally, if they let me, and I'm going to hold that inventory for an entire year, right? I'm going to sell 1 unit a month. I'm not excited about that, right? So what we're looking for is a sweet spot of good ROI, good margin, but also high volume. I want volume, all right? I don't want to have to carry 1,000 SKUs, okay? I want to carry a lower amount that, like, basically, like, my buying criteria is at least 30 units a month for any product, period, minimally. Ideally, though, 100 or more units per month, per SKU, per unit, or per product, sorry. Because I don't care about one-off sales, right? How's it scale? That's what I want to know. I want to place the least amount of orders to get the most amount of sales revenue. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to have to place 100 plus restock orders every single month. I want to place 12. Make sense? Yeah, make that little switch there. Which categories should you avoid? Getting started, supplements. Just don't. You're gonna find some. You're gonna find some great products, and you'll get the account, and then you'll see there's 40 other sellers at buy box. So you're still gonna move like 5 units a month. So I don't even source from supplements anymore. It's just there's so much more you can go with. But again, the category has nothing to do with it. Like, are some categories more abundant than others? Of course, but you still want to jump around. That's like when I start doing the live, you see, like, well, like, I decide right then in that moment which one I'm going to start sourcing from, because it changes all the time. You don't want. I mean, you could say, okay, this month I'm only going to maximize with like home and kitchen and small appliances, right? Like, I want to go through every subcategory of home and kitchen. You can absolutely do that. But, you know, a lot of where you want to focus in on is the subcategories, right? Because I don't want to look at a million products within home and kitchen. I want to look at the 300 that meet the initial criteria within small appliances within home and kitchen, if that makes sense. But again, it's literally just the way that I do it in the thing. Like I just pick one and I roll. And you guys saw last week, the first one I picked, I'm like, there's like 2 here, right? 10 pages, I get 2 products. That's okay. It took like all of 10 minutes. And so what do? I jump out and I jump into a new category and subcategory, or just a new subcategory. Yeah, that's really it. I don't really avoid necessarily any, but supplements I don't really pay attention to. Any news on when VinDrive will open for UK Marketplace? That's a great question. We haven't talked about that yet. I don't know. I want to say it's going to be a while, but obviously I'd have to talk with James from the pragmatic side, because it might be easy for us to spin one out. Maybe not. Let's see. Hang on, Chris. Chris just said the code isn't working. 1 second. Let me see if I can get that code extended. Because if it's not working, then it kind of defeats the purpose. Because I know, Chris, you messaged me about wanting to get in on it, so I'll make sure you get set up. So I'm going to extend it to 7:55, okay? So give it just a few minutes to get that updated. Just keep trying it, but we're going to end it at 7:55 then, because I want to make sure it actually works. Because putting a timer straight on something that doesn't work is irrelevant. So sorry about that. And obviously, so this Thursday, I'm going to actually do live sourcing again. Tonight I just kind of wanted to, that's all we have, a bunch of new members joining in, asking a lot of questions. And I want to make sure you guys are getting answers and moving forward, see where you're getting stuck. Because we're going to start splitting out VinDrive users who are up and running and moving forward, and those, starting from scratch, getting, just phase 1, step 1 kind of stuff. Because the conversation is going to be completely different. Barriers are going to be completely different. And I want to make sure I'm not wasting your time if you're getting, you don't need to be listening to conversations and getting answers to questions that are like 5 steps ahead. You need to focus in on what's right here, right now that you need to do. Patrick, transitioning from RA to wholesale, do you have a criteria checklist when searching for a new product? Yes. So Patrick, the video link that I posted in the comments, scroll up, has all of that within the video. Okay, so I have it within the PowerPoint at the beginning of it, and I referred back to it multiple times. That'll set you straight. That's it. It's like 5 bullet points, but those 5 are very critical and very important. All right, so Chris just got that moved forward. Actually, we did it till 8. So code should be good until 8, and then it's going to be cut off. Please let me know that it's working though, because that's kind of important. I'll get you guys set up. Patrick, you're welcome, my man. Yeah, if you have not watched the video I posted in the comments, that is your step 1. No, you don't have any questions until you watch that, because if you have not watched that, you have no idea what you're doing. Okay, that's very key. Once you understand how to source and you begin to actively do it day in, day out, you will get accounts. Okay, nothing else matters but how to source suppliers. Period. How to get accounts. If you cannot do that, everything else you are doing is irrelevant and not important. Okay, so if you have to prioritize one thing, it is sourcing new accounts, period. Okay, day in, day out. You haven't earned the right to do anything else until you've done that every single day. Let's see, Mason, glad to have you, man. Set up VinDrive yesterday at noon, found and contacted 5 suppliers last night before bed. Already have 2 accounts set up with profitable products. Already loving the software. That's it. That's awesome, man. That's sick. That's what I'm saying. Just do the work. Mason, I'm sure you understand now that you've done it. There's no secret sauce. There's no special tool, right? We built VinDrive to make it more concrete and to give you basically like an HQ and something that like we wanted and we still want, which is why we're building it. But like at the end of the day, like before VinDrive, me and James use spreadsheets. Like you use whatever works, right? Like it's pretty straightforward. Learn how to source accounts via the video I showed you, watch it multiple times, take notes, I don't care, whatever it takes for you to understand it and get it and take action on it every single day. Take action on it. Keep that pipeline full, right? You want to have a situation where, and all of you will hit it if you stick with this long enough, I have too many profitable like SKUs to purchase and not enough inventory. So guess what? If I get $5K more each month to spend, I already have the inventory. I don't have to go find it. It's already here. I just didn't have the capital for it. And then it's just plug and play, and you just keep doing that every single month. Like it's easy. Is it recommended, so this is from Patrick, is it recommended to contact suppliers via email or phone call? Preferably phone call. I know for obviously like people working full-time, it's a little difficult to make phone calls during the day. That's not a big deal. You know, when I got started, I did a lot of emailing, but prioritize phone calls over everything else. Okay. You know, if you work odd schedules and you can't make the timing happen, I understand, go to email. Email's better than nothing, but prioritize phone calls. You will get way higher approval rates because it's harder for somebody to tell you no when they know that they're talking to you versus just text within an email. It's easy just to ignore an email, but a phone call, when you're on the phone with them, they can't ignore that. Best way to approach a potential client to set up an account. Just be honest with them. Hey, my name, and this is from Aaron, so I'm going to use your name. So you just call them, say, hey, my name is Aaron. I'm with whatever your company name is. I've found your products. You know, I'm looking to expand, you know, my inventory within the category that you're in, and actually say the category. So let's say it's, you know, sports and outdoors. You know, we're looking to expand with a new brand within sports and outdoors. And I'd like to see what you guys require, what kind of documentation you need to set up a wholesale account, and then shut up. They're either going to ask you questions or tell you what they need. Most of the time, they're going to ask you questions because they want to know more. And then you answer those questions. You get the requirements. That's it. And then it's either profitable or it's not. And sometimes you don't get approved, obviously. Like you're not going to get approved like 75% of the time. Like it's probably closer to like 40, 50%. Just part of it. You just accept the numbers and move on. But you'll start to develop a little script because you'll notice the questions that they ask are pretty much the same from supplier to supplier. They have the same, you know, issues and potential fears of working with a new seller on Amazon, and you learn to just kind of like answer those questions before they're asked, because sometimes they don't ask, but the fact that you have those answers and you've already, you know, produced that to them shows that you know what you're doing and you're well versed in what this industry is and working with other suppliers. Timothy, how often do you get wholesale accounts and find no profitable products on their list? Contacted 10 and closed 2, ran the list, not many profitable products. 1 email and 1 phone call, ran it through tactical arbitrage. It happens a lot. I remember getting started. I started getting approved for a lot more accounts because I got better at it. And I'd get so excited every time I got a price list. And then I realized there'd be nothing of profit in there. Don't get excited until you place an order. Until you place a test order, then you can get excited. And even then I don't now because I want to make sure it's concrete and it's proven. But let me plug in my computer here. Yeah, it happens a lot. Absolutely. It 110% happens. And it's not that those products aren't profitable just in general. It's mainly just that Amazon has fees. And sometimes those fees make it unprofitable for us. That's not the supplier's issue, that's ours. But it's also how creative you are to make it profitable, right? If there's 5 sellers selling at the same price, they're making money. And just because you didn't find it profitable doesn't mean they're losing money and they're okay with it. It means they did something different. They either negotiated, they're either buying higher volumes to get price breaks, they're buying it from somewhere else. You have to be creative and ask those questions like, hey, looking at the pricing, it seems okay. It's just not where I need to be at. What can I do to lower that? Do I need to, or do you have price breaks at certain volumes, certain dollar amounts? What is it? And be comfortable asking those questions. And sometimes you just don't find anything of profit and you move forward. Do you use Price Checker 2 or Tactical Arbitrage for wholesale? I use Price Checker 2. I've never used Tactical Arbitrage for scanning wholesale price lists, but I don't see why it would be an issue. I used them for like OA when I first got started like 2 years ago, but it was a good system. It's not bad. Price Checker 2 is local to your machine, so it's an actual software, whereas Tactical Arbitrage is in the cloud via a website. Me personally, I like everything online. That way, I can go to a freaking library and run my business smoothly. That's kind of what I like. But to each their own. I like Price Checker 2. It's not bad. But for a lot of stuff, you really shouldn't need a price list scanner, only because we're focusing on going directly to a brand versus a distributor. So like a distributor might carry 10,000 SKUs, whereas a brand might only have 30. So like I can manually go through 30 within 5 minutes, whereas 10,000 is not going to happen. But for the most part, I don't go distributors unless they have a specific product that I'm looking for that I know would make sense to work with them on. All right, guys, last 2 minutes here. Please post your questions. Get you guys set up for the week. Can you give a brief rundown of InDrive and what it has that others don't offer? Yeah, absolutely. So the basic premise that we are using it for now is like a CRM. So for those of you who don't know what a CRM is typically used within sales, right? So it helps you better manage relationships. Okay, so the way we're using it is we're building relationships with suppliers, and we need to do that in an organized fashion. So whereas before you would just use Gmail and see what email has been open and which ones haven't, the way we have it set up now is you can create that supplier. We have it set up so you have your pipeline, right? So like you need to reach out to them. They responded, you got approved or you got denied, and you got pricing. So basically where every supplier is along that pipeline, and you know what to do next, right? So you never want to sit down and be like, okay, what do I do today? Like, no, you pull up VinDrive. Here's the ones who have responded now. Here's the ones who haven't responded. I have 2 that they sent me price lists. I need to scan those and find profit, right? So it gives you that organized HQ, I like to call it, but it's your organized business. It's like your entire business strategy within a platform. And so we're also building it to be modular, right? So like all of this data is being shifted around and it's never shared, right? So you have a system like Restock Pro, right? It's for restocking information. That's great information. But then you have, let's say you're using inventory labs for like your P&L and profitability and stuff. Those are 2 great data sets that never talk to each other, right? So like this business needs to be data driven. Like when you really start to make some leaps with your business, it's because of the data that you're taking action on, and you need access to that. So sometimes that's kind of difficult to do. And where everybody's at is different. So, we don't want to build a platform that basically gives you all these tools that you quite frankly don't need or don't want, right? Like I'm not a big repricer guy. Some people are. So we want it to be modular and app enabled basically. So if you get to a point you're like, hey, now I need a restocking software. Fantastic. It's easy for you to add on. And again, that data is going to talk to each other. But for right now, we're really focused on building that CRM style, which is what we've been using, what we've been kind of showing. And it's just one of those things that it makes your business clear as far as your objectives, where everything is within your pipeline, what to take action on and how to move forward in a very visual, organized way, basically, because otherwise I pretty much ran my business through through Gmail and spreadsheets, then that's not really the best recipe for success. So let's see. Dylan, when you were saying 25% and James 30%, is that ROI or margin? That's going to be margin. Yeah, so 30% margin. So yeah, very key difference between ROI and margin there. Mason, how do you limit risks partnering with suppliers that can't regulate MAP? The way I do that is looking at historical data. If I see the volume or the price has been like this on the Keep It chart, it's not stable. If it's been a solid line for the last year and a half, it's pretty stable. That's it's super simple, but it works. I mean, just look at what it's done in its history, and then assume it's going to do the same moving forward. Right. Last question: is there any point in contacting a brand which already has a store on Amazon and is the only seller? No, typically those are private label products. So no, I'm not, no, because you can't offer any value. Like, hey, I know you're selling on Amazon, but can I do it too? And take some of your volume, and you take a hit on margin because you're selling to me. Like, no, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So, all right, guys, I gotta go. Hope this helped a lot. I think I feel like we hit some really good things. So next Thursday, same time. I'm gonna do the same time. We'll actually do live sourcing, and towards the end, I'll answer some questions as they come through, obviously, because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. But I'll live source again next Thursday. Yeah, 2 days from now, and make sure you guys join that, because that's a lot of people have questions even after watching the video of me teaching how to do it. Hopefully, this will help a lot. So good to go. You guys have an awesome one, Patrick. You're welcome, my dude. Glad to see you guys in here. Yeah, and obviously, like, if you guys have very specific questions on things that you don't really want to share publicly, send me a private message on Facebook. Feel free to add me on Facebook. Send me a private message. I get on there, a few times a week, just because the schedule's kind of busy, and I'll help you guys out. And obviously, like, when you're a VinDrive member now, that's reserved for Google Hangouts. We'll answer more in depth. It won't be comment based. You will actually be like kind of face to face, answering some higher level questions, and holding you accountable too. So if you tell me you want to do 10K a month within the next 2 months, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do, and I'm going to expect you to do it. And we're going to talk every week and call you out on it and make sure you're doing it. So, so you guys have a great night. Appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Have some fun. Later, guys.